Hello, I want to share my trucking experience I just had. Most people don't understand why truck drivers job hop all the time because the recruiters and the people that get us to come to their jobs are misleading the drivers. I don't understand why you go through the whole charade with this lovely website telling the drivers all this lovely bullshit. And then when we get there, we start noticing what you said is not coming into play. The most recent one and the most horrific one, the most embarrassing trucking company I've ever in my life tried to attempt to go to. Beverly Freight, located in Alsip, Illinois. This company website advertises you can make big money. They advertise they offer used, newer, and new trucks. They claim you can make a shitload of money. But after you pay out all these startup fees, $2,430 for your truck registration, and $450 for a tablet, and so on and so on. So you really won't be seeing any money for almost pretty much 3 to 4 a month rolling. You immediately starting to pay these ridiculous ass fees that after I totaled them up, come to $3,413 a week that you got to pay. So you rolling making money off the loads, but it's going back to them and these fees and shit for the truck before you start seeing a profit. I don't know who regulates the lease purchasing in trucking, but this whole program needs to be overhauled. This program is designed for drivers to fail. You paying out ridiculous money to get little money, but then the company talks to you like that's good money. No, it's not. No, it's not. When you're on percentage, they cheat you out the load pays. This company pays you by the load. And I've seen comments from other drivers that left there saying that they were skimming off the loads, which is possible because they never disclose fully the true amount of the load. I don't care how much you ask. You just never tell you. They just tell you this amount and this is what you get of this amount. There needs to be full disclosure of that. Because you can go on a DAC board if you was a full-fledged owner operator, owned your own truck, and see these loads pay way more than what they're getting you to do them for. But back to Beverly Freight. They lured me out of Detroit. It took a long time for me to make a decision to go there because I was kind of leery of the company, of that kind of money they talking about they can make. And then you had to invest all this money off the bat. You had to start paying all this money off the bat to get rolling. But their website looked like they had decent trucks, newer trucks. That's what the pictures look like. Then they make you pay for your own way there. So my way was short. I took a Greyhound day before yesterday, Tuesday. Got over there about 3-something. It's too late to go to the office and try to get the paperwork filled out and get started. Well, they said, well, if you do your drug screen before you go, we can have that could be back in 24 hours. That's what they said. So I'm expecting it to have already been back when I got there. Tuesday, I called. They said it wasn't back yet. But now that's what they told me, 24 hours. Then I asked them, after getting there, how long would it take to get me rolling? He said, once you get here, get the paperwork going, you go pick your truck, it'll be that day. Okay. So I booked me a bus. Went on to Alsip, Illinois. I get there, they put me in a Motel 6. Motel 6 decides my first room they put me in, the tub was hideous. I walked immediately out that room and requested another room. The next room was decent. Okay, so I get me a good night's sleep. Get up the next morning. Now, they Ubered me over there. Everything is by Uber. You got to get an Uber. They Uber you from the Greyhound in Chicago over to the motel. Then they Uber you from the motel to their office. Okay, I get to the office. Okay, everything seemed friendly. It's a small company, and there's a brick building on the second floor. Small company. They run by foreigners. I don't know the background. Their language seems to be, I guess, I don't know, dealing with Russia or they're foreign. I can tell you that. So that didn't stop me from going. I said, well, hell, they seem nice. And the company, I said, I asked them repeatedly, if you're being honest with me, okay, then I'm going to try your company. Several email communications with the recruiter. Then I talked to the guy, a guy that's supposed to have been knowing more about the truck. They call him their colleague. So this guy tells me about the trucks. I said, I wanted the Kenworth that you had on there. He said, no, we have 2020 Freightliner Cascadias. I said, but your flyer is advertised that you have newer trucks. The Kenworth, and I see a Peterbilt on here. Oh, I have 2020 Freightliner Cascadias. Then he said something about, well, you can get here and drive the Freightliner for 3 weeks and I'll get you a new truck. That's what he said. But it said, but the website, when you click on it, even on Facebook, when you look at their stuff and the flyers, when you click on it, it's one picture in the flyer where it looks like they have a fence line full of newer looking Freightliners. I have already uploaded a video of where their trucks were and what I saw when I got there. So you can look on my YouTube and look up Beverly Freight scam. And you'll see the video of what I saw when I got there. Okay, after filling out my application, she said, well, while I process this, we're going to Uber you over to the yard where the trucks is. That was another, all this shit should have been a red flag. Because this company, to get you there, they ask online to send your social security card, medical card, driver's license. Claiming they checking that. Say everything okay. They don't have you fill out an app or nothing till you get there. And then they told me the trucks were right out back of the building. No, they had a few trucks out the back of the building I arrived at. But the trucks was over at a truck repair center, truck plaza, called Alsop Truck Repair. So I get dropped off there by an Uber. I'm immediately looking for this fence line full of Freightliner trucks. I don't see it. So the Uber driver, who's another foreign guy, barely could speak English, he said he was going to wait to make sure this was the right place. I go in and talk to one of the shop mechanics. This guy immediately comes, I tell him I'm from Beverly Freight. I was dropped off here by Uber to come pick a truck. This guy immediately gets defensive. I said, I have nothing to do with that. They're a separate company. We just fix trucks here. I said, okay, but where are the trucks? He said, outside, out back. So I come out front, wave to the Uber driver. This is okay, I'm here. He drives off. I'm walking around the yard. I don't see any sign that says Beverly Freight. I get to the back. I finally see a truck that says Beverly Freight. It's a white Kenworth that has been hit. And I look around further. I don't see any more Beverly Freight. So I walk over to the other fence, directly in the back of the garage. I see two white trucks. I walk up on the side of them. Okay, that gas signs that say Beverly Freight. One of the trucks apparently came from Quality. That truck is in inoperable condition. The second truck next to it, it looked decent, newer tires, but I don't know if that was somebody's truck or what was wrong with it. It was just sitting there. Okay, you let me get on the bus saying you had apparently all the newer trucks in 2020s. I see junk. So I go back into the shop. The guy, I called Beverly Freight. I said, where are your trucks? I don't see any trucks. She said there should be a sign in the yard that says Beverly Freight. There's no sign anywhere. So she calls the mechanic. As I walk back in, the mechanic's on the phone. He said, now he's telling me this truck is in the shop. It should be truck number 9 something, something, something. I said, so now you assigning me a truck. You dropped me off here in the cold at a goddamn truck repair shop to pick a truck that I can't pick or look at because it's up in the goddamn shop. So Now I'm highly upset and pissed off, telling them you misled me. So now they get the guy back on the phone, George, the one that told me all this information about the trucks. So now I'm standing out back in the cold saying where your trucks at. Now he wants to tell me that he told me he had one Cascadia Freightliner. No, you didn't. You said I have 2020s. And I said your flyer doesn't say you have one truck. Everything from the start of the conversation with this company was a lie. Because I was reluctant to come. At some point it got to the point where they act like they were getting intolerant of answering my questions. I'm a driver about to go get indebted to you for a shitload of money trying to drive your trucks and get started. So you were supposed to answer my questions. You were trying to recruit me there. So now, me and this guy's going back and forth. I said, you dropped me off here in the goddamn cold. They dropped me off with an Uber in the cold to pick a truck that I can't pick. I can't get in and crank it up. I can't look at the truck. The goddamn truck is in the damn shop. I can't even walk in the garage and look at it. So now the guy says, you're going to argue with me? I said, you goddamn right. You lured me from my home of Detroit, made me use my last money. I can't even pay my rent. I'm going down here trying to find me a job. Use my last money to get a bus over there. And this was some bullshit. You have no trucks to pick from. You had one truck. You don't assign me a truck. I'm supposed to pick my truck. So he said, no, I don't want to hire. I said, well, I tell you what, you're going to get me back home. You dropped me off here in an Uber. I paid my bus fare to get here. He said no. So he's going to leave me stranded. So what I did was, I called. I said, you going to leave me stranded? I said, okay, all right. You think this is a game? Let me show you how I'm going to show you this ain't no game. I hung up. You going to leave me stranded? He going to leave me stranded out there in the cold in the back of a truck repair shop in Alsip, Illinois. I don't have no way to get home. I spent my last money getting there. So I called the Alsip police. The police officer arrived. The first officer arrived. He asked me what happened. I explained the story. He said, what you want me to do about it? I said, you need to do something. I said, you allow this the police here. I said, you allow this to go on in your state? They're luring drivers here on false pretenses. And now you're trying to leave me stranded here. He said, where's your belongings? He thought it was in the shop. I said, no, it's not in the shop. It's back at their office. So while I was talking to him, another officer arrived, a female officer. So she said, tell me what's going on. I told her what happened. She said, this is terrible. Apparently they've heard of, apparently this goes on in Illinois, in that area with trucking companies. So we walk into the building. Because I told him I need to verify that truck is in the shop. So the officer didn't want me to go step out there in the shop floor. So she did herself. She looked through she asked the guy where's the truck. It's in the shop. The mechanic comes out. It's in the shop. She peeks through the window to see. She said, I see some Beverly trucks. There's 3 white ones and 1 black. So the mechanic, the officers asked the mechanic, is any of those trucks in ready condition for her to pick from? The mechanic said no. 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 So this company dropped me off in the cold for some trucks they knew was in the shop, wasn't ready to roll, and I couldn't pick from. And didn't want to get an attitude with me because now I'm upset and pissed off that I just realized this was some bullshit. So the police drove me back to their office. I told them that's where my belongings were. So we went upstairs, me and both of the officers. They saw the two ladies that was at the desk that works for this company. And I proceeded to tell them why I called the police on them. I said, you lured me here on false pretenses. Made believe you had new and newer and used trucks. More than one to pick from. Ready and available out in the yard. I get here. I see junk and no trucks. And trucks in the shop, not ready to go. You dropped me off in the cold. Then the guy that talked to me about the trucks that was helping to convince me come here gets upset with me, now tells me he don't want to hire me and tried to strand me out in Alsip, Illinois in that truck yard. That's why the police is standing here. So the two young ladies, the lady started to say, well, you can't get mad at us. One of the ladies is claiming she worked for safety, tried to say, you can't get mad at us. So the male police officer stopped her. He said, you work for this company. He letting her know their responsibility. You're just as responsible as the owner of the company. You are working for this company. You are implementing the orders of that owner to do this to people. You work for the company, so you are just as responsible. So the officer, I was speaking, he said, well, she's asking is, she said, because the officers asked where the Greyhound was that I came from. It was in Chicago. They had to Uber me from there. So to get there was out of their jurisdiction. So they said they couldn't drive me back that far because they were going to drive me back to the Greyhound. But they can't go that far. So at this point, what do they want done? So the officer said she obviously does not want to work here. So what she's asking is, can you get her an Uber back to the Greyhound and a bus ticket home? They both said, yes, we can do that. So the officer stood there while they made those arrangements. And after they made the arrangements, I handed me the paper with my bus ticket and was getting the Uber arranged. I asked the officers, could you please wait here? And just in case, because I don't want you to leave. And they turn around and say, this is not, we're not paying for anything. You just stuck here. So those officers did. We sat in the room opposite the other side of the wall where I had filled out the application. The officers were telling me that they see this quite often. On the way to ride there, the officer I was riding with, the female officer told me of another company called Express something that we apparently passed on the way back to that company, had done the same thing where they had to respond to a driver being put out of his truck, where they had to come get a police van and load all this driver's stuff in their van, drop him off at the Motel 6 while this guy calls his dad to come get him. This lease purchase stuff, this stuff that's going on with these trucking companies, misleading drivers. You're asking specific questions and they're sugarcoating it. They're lying to you to get you there. And then after you get there, you either end up stranded, pissed off, wasted your time, or forced to have to accept this position because now you're in a dire need because you have no income. And I'm tired of this going on in trucking. The trucking industry needs to be overhauled. This lease purchase needs to be reevaluated or eliminated entirely. Because we're spending out too much money to get nothing. The money we getting off lease purchase, you can come home and work a local job hourly with overtime and get. And never have to leave the comfort of your home except for those hours you're working. Lease purchase, you got to live out on the road because now you done signed a lease. You got to be dedicated to pay for that truck. Beverly Freight talked just as nice. Their website looked beautiful. The money they said you could make was bling bling. But upon my arrival, it was bullshit. And I'm tired of these companies doing that. I left my home to come there looking for a job. And all I found was bullshit. And had to contact the police for assistance to get myself back home. And this is a shout out to the Alsip, Illinois police. Those two officers that responded to Beverly Freight were the most upstanding officers I've ever met before in my life. They responded, they assisted, and they saw that I got back home. Shout out to the Alsip, Illinois Police Department. If I had not called them, I'll still be standing out there freezing in the cold in the back of that truck repair shop. This is a damn shame that trucking companies are doing this to drivers. Just stop the lies. Stop the misleading. Stop the false advertising. Why do you have to do that to get a driver? And then when the driver get there, you act like you on some other shit. What are you hiring me for? This ain't no game. This ain't no act. This is my life you're dealing with. I left my home. Spent my last money. I'm sitting up here in Detroit dealing with the same nonsense with local companies. Misleading me to get me on a job. Lying to me about the pay. Underpaying me on job trips I've done. Lies. And I sit here, can't even pay my rent now. I guess they thought I had a shitload of money in the bank. Or they did this shit on purpose to see me homeless. I'm going through this shit here local. It's the same thing. Local. Same bullshit as over the road. Here I am in a position again where my rent is in jeopardy. I can't pay my goddamn rent. These local jobs have been misleading. I didn't want to be local, but you forced me back local. And I like being home. But dealing with local, you have to deal with most of these companies they haul for Chrysler. I'm not going to haul for Chrysler. Chrysler is responsible for me being homeless. Chrysler is responsible for my life in the direction it is in. Chrysler didn't give a damn. My state didn't give a damn what Chrysler did to me. The courts didn't give a damn what Chrysler did to me. So why in the fuck would I work for Chrysler, making them continue their multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar global status? When you didn't give a fuck about me and my son, when I had to sell my home and we ended up homeless. You the reason all this is still happening. That shit from Chrysler. And you want me to work for them? The trucking industry needs to be overhauled. These recruiters need to stop lying. It is your job, if you're an operations manager, if you're a recruiter, it's your job to know. Or if you're a placement service, it's your job to know what you're placing that driver on. If that driver asks you, who do they haul for, you're supposed to be able to tell him. Don't place that driver on a job for a company they're not going to haul for. If I go speak to you about a position and I ask you specific questions, who you haul for, you say it's one company, that's okay, that's great. Then I go to the company and start asking that company questions on day one, and they tell me no. They haul for the company I don't want to haul for, which is Chrysler. Stood there, Chrysler, Chrysler, Chrysler. Bringing back old memories. All the horrific tragedies, the shit I went through. The painful memories of living in this state, this city of Detroit, while they praise Chrysler, build Chrysler, help Chrysler grow, and they was responsible for me being homeless. They responsible for this debt I'm accruing, all this job hopping, all this anger, all from Chrysler. And they didn't do shit about it. So, this video was about Beverly Freight. Those comments that are showing up on Indeed.com about that company are 100% true. I posted a comment. I don't even see my comment. I gave a accurate detail of my experience coming from that company yesterday upon my arrival and leaving. But I don't see my comment on Indeed.com at all. That post is mysteriously hidden. All you see is the original 4 I saw. But those 4 are accurate. That company is a scam. It's a ripoff. They're getting drivers to come there to pay $2,400.30 to register the truck. And then when these drivers find out they're not going to make any money, they resell the truck, release the truck to somebody else, collecting another $2,430 and all those fees for all this shit all over again. Now you out of job, got to go home, find different employment, start this process all over again. Lease, purchase, and trucking has turned into a horrible experience. They have turned the trucking industry into an industry where you're working really to be homeless. You one check from homeless. One day from being homeless. Because if something go wrong, you homeless. They'll strand you in a strange state. Throw you off the truck. Tell you you're going to make all this kind of money. And you not. Get out there making average money, but you leasing a truck, making money you can make working local. That doesn't sound right. But yet they tell you that's good money. Beverly Freight is the most horriblest company I've ever experienced in my life. To do that to a driver that came there on good faith, that's been honest the whole time, asking questions, and you misled me to get me there. Beverly Freight, I give you two thumbs down if I could put the other one up if I wasn't holding this goddamn phone. Worst company on the planet.